It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. Tuesday, October 29th. When that song Genesis Misunderstanding came out, the Genesis heads were like, oh, they're just getting pop and they're kind of selling out now. They're not the same. Yeah. That track's badass, man. It's got an awesome, dirgy groove going the whole time.
I like it. I wasn't a Genesis head. I was too young for that. But I do remember when the song came out and it was on the radio, I was into AC/DC and Black Sabbath Dio. And I thought, oh, this song sucks. And here I was just still singing along.
Yeah.
I
didn't have an older brother. I didn't have an older brother who loved Genesis, but I had an older cousin, David Hayes of Muskegon, Michigan, was a Genesis head growing up. And so I decided Genesis was cool because he liked Genesis. But really what I liked was the fact that when he was in high school, he was already a black belt in karate. And I saw him at my mom's 95th birthday party last year. And I said, hey, man, how's the karate going? And he looked right at me and said, kind of like Genesis. It's part of my life forever. It's eternal. And I was like, all right.
Oh, you have to bow to that.
Yeah, okay. Man. Hell yeah, you do.
Were his hands registered as lethal weapons?
Wado is the style of karate he practices. I'm not making this up. He's an 8th degree black belt. He is one of the top like 5 in North America. There's like 3 guys ahead of him in this school, and he has spent years in Japan. He's like that guy.
Oh, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
And
Genesis
like
is his band.
Haircut.
He's got. Well, I don't know what I wouldn't call it Japanese.
Haircut is, but
well, it's
you know what I'm thinking of.
Haircut.
No, nobody knows what you're thinking of.
No, I don't know. Is he cut his? I don't know. You know what?
Yes,
everybody
Brian,
got an image in their head.
He shaves with chopsticks. Yes, is that what you want me to say?
See a lot of Japanese dreadlocks, do you, Tony? Go ahead and Google Japanese dreadlocks.
Blonde mohawk, isn't it?
The only time a Google search came back with no results found, Japanese dreadlocks.
Oh, God, you just opened the door. I have to run through it. I apologize in advance. It's pronounced dreadrocks. All right, the top 5 at 6. Let's get to it. Number 5. A new study has shown, a social experiment has shown that do-gooders, the people who walk around doing the right thing all the time, are perceived as, not douchebags, not setting the bar too high, but more good-looking.
Oh, all right. Well,
what?
Good for them. The bad guys still get all the action, though.
Man.
I'm going to need everyone to remember this when there's that first big snowfall and we all need to get shoveled out.
Oh, yeah.
If you want some action. Yeah.
No. They didn't say get action. They said are seen as more good-looking. The bad boys, trust me, get the action.
Okay.
I'm not going to shovel your driveway, miss, but I'll plow the... No, I'm sorry. I'll stop that right now. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Teenagers more and more across America, adolescents in general, are saying Nancy Reagan is just dancing in heaven. They're saying no to marijuana. Marijuana. Of course, it's one of the more commonly used illicit substances amongst adolescents in the U.S. for decades. But now, researchers from Florida Atlantic University's Schmidt College of Medicine, with a comprehensive 10-year study, say grades 9 through 12, pot use is way down.
Well, who wants pot when you've got all that fentanyl just
there is
that around out there? I mean, pot. That's for the old people. More for us.
Eighth graders and 9th graders just barely even getting near it anymore. Now 12th grader, 22% of high school seniors have smoked weed. Those numbers are staying strong. You go, seniors. Class of 25. Let's hear it. But 11th graders lower, sophomores lower than that. It's it's a positive trend just because during adolescence, cognitive development, et cetera, et cetera. You just don't need to slow the train down with weed.
We don't need any more DJs. Besides, they're
a great point right there.
Addicted to social media, aren't they?
Yeah.
That doesn't slow down anything.
It absolutely does not. In more dizzying news, honestly, which is a much more troubling trend for the future. Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Many schools across America now have taken we've talked about smartphones. They're no longer allowing kids to bring smartphones into class.
They wear them.
You are not allowed to bring a vape pen or any, there's no vaping in school. But now, croc bans. Croc bans.
Crocodiles, you mean?
Schools are increasingly banning those slip-on foam clogs, not because they're too colorful or too distracting, but because students keep falling and tripping while wearing Crocs.
Yeah, you run in those, you're going to topple.
Weed.
That's true.
Well, but that's the. Our kids don't smoke weed and they can't walk in Crocs. There's something counterintuitive about this.
What in the hell?
I would think that the difficulty walking down a hallway in Crocs would be directly tied to being stoned as a wiffle ball bat. But apparently, no. It's the antithesis. Our kids can't smoke weed and they can't walk in Crocs. What else do we need? The guys, turn the lights out. The party's over.
I should have thrown them in a lake in a bag.
I weep for the future.
They're useless to us. Who's gonna wipe our asses?
Man, when you're laugh now, but you're gonna drive by old Lake Minnetonka one day, and you're just gonna see croc after croc after croc just floating there. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6, December 9th edition of Monday Night Football is going to have quite the cross promotion. It's amazing. This has never happened yet.
I'm
not quite sure.
Yeah.
The Simpsons is on Fox. That's going to air on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus for some reason. I don't know how these things work, but you know what? You got the Manning cast. I guess it's just a matter of time before you have the Bart and Homer cast.
You got to do something to make Cincinnati Bengals Dallas Cowboys game seem interesting to people. Good
that,
God.
my friend, is hitting the hammer on the nail right there. Remember in the old days. It's probably 30 years. No, I think maybe it was Denver versus Green Bay, that one World Series, that one Super Bowl. But there was an episode that they aired. There was an interim week. It was the Super Bowl. There's a week off.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the old Simpsons where Homer and all the guys are at Moe's bar, and they're talking about the game next week, but they've obviously had to record. They made the show a year ago, and Homer's holding a beer mug, and he goes, "I can't wait for next week's game against the," and he puts his mug in front of his face.
Yes.
You hear this, Dallas Cowboys, or whatever it was, and then Moe goes, "Yeah, I was thinking maybe those Denver Broncos would get the win." Just that stuff was so... And I don't ever watch The Simpsons anymore, but on the odd occasion I do. It's still just absolutely hysterically funny to me.
I know, and then I wonder why I don't turn it on more often.
I know, it's just you get enough of it, I guess. It's kind of like, you can only listen to an album so many times, but then you put it on, you're like, hey, it's still great.
Right.
The Simpsons are like that. It's still really a funny show. Number 1 on your top 5 at 6, at 1A, of course, is just a good morning. How do you do? Tip of the cap to Hudson, Wisconsin.
Oh, Hudson, Wisconsin. Old Town, Dick's Bar for a good time. Good chow, the whole thing. Also, good luck over there, fellas, trying to find love. I just read that Hudson, Wisconsin is one of the toughest places for men to find love.
Is that true?
Yeah, I did. I'll send you guys the article. I don't know why I haven't sent it along yet, but old Hudson, Wisconsin, unlucky in love over there, I guess.
Wow.
The illegal fireworks aren't doing it for the ladies?
No, you go there for the fireworks, you come here for the ladies.
Hudson, Wisconsin, fun fact, named after Rock Hudson. Who knew? Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. Oh my gosh. Shakopee, Minnesota. A woman was, I don't even know where to start with this. Bloomington police chief put up a video called Rustling is Still a Thing because a woman was recently arrested and charged with stealing a sheep from a farm over in Bloomington. 42-year-old Mary Kay Bauer of St. Paul has been charged with rustling and livestock theft. It's a felony.
Rustling.
Get a rope.
Yeah.
She was, officers were called to Old Shakopee Road East, report of a man and a woman walking a dog and a sheep.
Sure.
She told officials, no, I purchased this sheep. It turned out, no, she stole the sheep.
Oh.
We've got a little bit of a news clip here. Really, the sad thing is, we got to go theater of the mind because this mugshot of this woman, of this sheep rustler. Yeah. Let me just say this. There's a big, she's been smashed in between the eyes with what looks to be a ball peen hammer. There's an open...
What's that all about?
Her forehead, I think she's letting a sheep ram her head.
Okay, yeah.
But more alarmingly, of the 2 face tattoos, one of them is of a sheep.
Yeah, right
on
there
her cheek.
On her cheek, and it's like a prison sheep.
No, it's not a
prison tattoo.
It's for sure. I don't think she was up to any good. I think this sheep just had his life saved.
I thought maybe it was Hindu gone wrong with the dot there on the forehead, but you're right. I think she thinks she's a sheep, and she was headbutting people because that looks like a headbutt gone wrong.
So just in case you're wondering, again, the headline: rustling still a thing in the Twin Cities.
This is Bloomington Police Chief Booker T. Hodges. Congratulations on your name, Chief. That's a great name. Booker T. Hodges.
Booker T. Washington Middle School, right here. I went there, baby.
Did you?
A report of a man and woman walking a dog and a sheep. The woman who was confronted originally said that she had purchased the sheep. That turned out not to be true. What actually happened was she went to the farm and drugged the sheep out of the farm. She almost choked the sheep out. So you can't rustle people's livestock in Bloomington.
I think this might have been a love connection.
Yeah, drug the sheep.
She almost choked it out.
Oh my God.
What is this, UFC? Sheep's tapping. Tap out. Meh.
And I missed the sheep farm over in Bloomington. I didn't know they still had wide open acres over there in Bloomington where they were raising the sheep. Well, the sheep was just fine, I guess. Got returned to the farm. Okay.
Doing just fine. No,
Yeah.
Dolly's going to be great.
Some mental scars, I suppose.
Oh my gosh! Well, what's weirder than sheep wrestling? Mummies on toilets. Yeah, well, it's Halloween week. Mummies on toilets. You heard me. Oakland, California, 1990. The first time I had a shot of Rebel Yell bourbon.
Oh.
And then I had another, and then I had a few more, and then I woke up on the hood of a pickup truck in the parking lot of a club.
Ooh, good stuff.
That's a fun story in Oakland, California at night. Hey, Steve, maybe not sleep there. Speaking of the Bay Area in California, some people out there take Halloween way too seriously. In the South Bay, now Oakland's East Bay, but South Bay, south of San Francisco proper. Well, you know what? We'll just play a little bit of a news story because it is Halloween week, and this is just the sort of thing that happens sometimes. Check on your friends and neighbors. That's all I have to say.
The house is tucked away on a quiet cul-de-sac on the east side of Union City. It would be easy to miss if it wasn't for the trash.
In the backyard and the front yard, it was just filled with trash, and it was piled up to 10 feet high or so with trash.
But neighbors were shocked to hear that a mummified body of a man was found on the toilet inside the home. Sergeant Brandon Hayward with the Union City Police Department believes the remains were there for weeks, if not months. The body wasn't wrapped in cloth, but the remains had started to dry up because of the temperatures inside the enclosed bathroom. They found another man alive, but in bad condition with mold growing out of his ear.
Wait,
No.
What happened there? What just happened there?
Happy Halloween!
So you just saved that little kicker there for the
They
end.
found another man alive, but in bad condition with mold growing out of his ear.
In the house with the mummy?
He's taking that Last of Us show a little too seriously, I think.
Yeah.
Or that's not mold, that's more like fungi.
Yeah, that was fungus. Isn't that, I don't know what they say. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Well, yeah, there must have been. That carpet's got to go.
I think at the very least, get the carpet up. Maybe some pine oil. What's that pine saw? Get that going. Whatever.
Wet wipe or two.
Or gasoline and a match, perhaps.
That might actually do it. Yeah, the 10 feet of trash piled up in the yard. Leave that for now. This is the house turned around.
God, so.
But that's and just this is a real story, and this is obviously something kind of horrible going on in this house.
Yeah.
But think of the urban legend this will spawn for generations of trick or treaters. Because
that house?
there was. There were. I lived in several neighborhoods as a child where all of them, they murdered those kids in that house. You only heard about it on Halloween because it's all just nonsense. This is real.
Yeah,
oh no, there's a mummy on the toilet, and the guy had the mold in his ears right there. But they gave out Almond Joy last year, so let's try it. What the hell?
Well, you gotta dare one of your buddies to sneak into the house. He's got to go in the house.
Hell
He's got to go through
you
a
do.
window or something, or up on the roof and try and shimmy in there.
I'm seeing kids with old Levi's white T-shirts, cigarette rolled up in the pocket. In the sleeve.
Yeah.
It's like I just want the cast of Stand By Me to show up. Go ahead, man. Check it out. Get in there, man. What are you scared?
Poke at it.
What are you scared?
Yeah.
Holy smokes! That's a Halloween. That's Halloween legend. legend for that's a century. If we're still talking about Lizzie Borden now, then the South Bay is going to be talking about the mummy on the turlet in the year 2323.
Toilet mummy.
Man, that's just good stuff. I mean, again, sorry for whoever's loss it is, but that's good stuff.
Well, I hope for the guy with the mold growing out his ears, they had a second bathroom. I mean, if it's in there for months, you couldn't.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no.
Come on. Are you done? Are you done?
Oh.
You know what,
I'm going to go in the sink again. I'm going to go in the kitchen sink again. I swear to God.
Come on,
and
man.
by the way, do you have a Q-tip? Bring the Q-tips when you come out of there.
A swab.
Got a little tickle in my ear.
Yowza. There's a lot going on today, but nothing like what went on back in the day. Let's have a history lesson. On this day in 1973, Orenthal James Simpson of the Buffalo Bills had 39 chances to run the ball in a game, and he had 157 yards. And what did that do? It put him over 1,000 yards for the season after 7 games. First guy that ever did 1,007.
Yeah.
That double murder and sociopath was great at football.
Yeah, well, imagine.
Reggie Bush had to give back his Heisman, but OJ, keep it, man. You're cool. Man, the NCAA sucks sometimes. On this day in 2005, speaking of college football, 7 games into the season, Notre Dame football in 2005, their record was 5-2. And what did they do? They gave brand new head coach Charlie Weiss a 10-year extension. What did he have on the athletic director? He was 5-2, and they're like, you know what? He had been the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Let's give him a 10-year extension. That went sideways real fast. He lost his first 2 big bowl games, Fiesta and Sugar. After Brady Quinn left, however, the team fell apart.
Quinn.
Charlie Weiss, the man who can say the unthinkable. It was just never the same after Brady Quinn left. What are you kidding me? He's like one of the worst coaches in NCAA history.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Tuesday, October the 29th. Good morning to everybody, but especially everybody out in Oakdale.
Oakdale. I really have to look them up on a map sometime.
Yeah.
No, they're right over here. I'm pointing in that direction over there.
Over yonder.
Yeah, just over yonder.
Over there. Oakdale there. Come on, Oakdale. Let's hear from you.
I just always thought I would want to live in Oakdale because there's not a lot, it's just sort of a drive-through,
flying under the
around.
radar. Yeah.
Exactly. What's going on in Oakdale?
That should be the slogan. Oakdale, we're under the radar.
Yeah. I love that.
Good to have you with us, everybody who's out there in Oakdale. It is Halloween week, and it is more importantly right now Tuesday. So let's put the fun in the ditch for a moment, shall we? How about some unfun facts?
Unfun. Not fun. Not fun. Not fun.
Entirely unfun.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Unfun
Facts.
Let's begin, shall we? Shall we?
Yeah, you're damn right we will. Check this out. This is not fun at all. During the Halloween week, many animal shelters hold on to all their black cats. You cannot adopt a black cat at most animal shelters this week because people are worried about those animals being used in some sort of sacrifice.
What about Shaft?
What's that?
Nothing.
By the way, animal shelters and Rosemary Gorman, very wary of black cat safety Halloween week. We had a cat for 20 years named Marbles, solid black. And that woman, about around October 25th every year, would be like, you don't let that cat outside. She went on to DEFCON 1 high alert for Marbles the cat, who was, again, solid black. And every year I'd go, babe, no one's going to take a black cat. She goes, no, they absolutely will. And she would tell me the story of her childhood black kitty that disappeared Halloween Eve one year. Yeah. And I'm like, that was Birmingham, Alabama. You grew up in a weird Satanist clutch.
Probably ended up in a buffet somewhere.
She was convinced, and she said, no, that's what happened, and it was always the thing, and it's just, and you know what, and then one day I finally had to go, this is, okay, she could be, my wife could be a lot of things that she's not. If she's a little nervous about a black cat on Halloween, I'm going to have to give that to her.
Yeah, makes her happy.
It can't be easy to sacrifice a cat. I think a dog, you just walk up and You just let it happen.
Give him a liver snap and he's yours.
Yeah, I just thought it sounds like a good way to get your eyes clawed out.
I saw a kid named Davey Hull who said the word, which was a funny line, just objectively, just no context needed. Hey, let's go beat up a cat. That's just a funny thing to say for 2 9-year-olds. And I said, okay. And he goes, the Haups are out of town. That cat's always in their yard. And we literally went and looked for a cat
to beat up.
And I'm thinking like, well, we're not really going to try to beat up a cat. And he saw their cat. And he went over and he was just going to grab it and see what happened. And yeah, that cat did not want to be grabbed, and it ripped the living snot out of his arms.
Right,
His forearms were shredded in 1 second. And that's the day I realized, like, I'm not a cat person.
No, that's all right. They're not a human feline.
Talk about unfun facts. Stop having fun, Ryder.
Sorry.
Children. This is. I'm just going with the stats, folks. Children are more than twice as likely to be killed while walking the streets and sidewalks on Halloween than any other night.
I wonder why that is.
I know exactly why it is.
Why?
Because they're not paying attention. They run out in front of cars.
That's right. Yeah. And they're all out on the sidewalks and streets.
And they're all out on the sidewalks and streets, and they're all in costumes, and it's dark, and they run out in front of cars. Unlike 364 other nights of the week when they're not all out on the sidewalk and streets.
Wouldn't that be odd if they were less likely to be killed while walking the streets and sidewalks on Halloween night?
It would be odd. It's like you know who dies the most from falling off roofs? Roofers. That's how that works. Oh boy, check this out. 1964, a Long Island homeowner named Helen Pfeil, P-F-E-I-L. I'm going to pronounce that. Let's say Pfeil. Helen Pfeil. The P is not silent.
Pfeil.
Every year, she was very troubled by the fact that teenagers would show up to her house on Halloween asking for candy.
Yeah.
She didn't get it. She thought, you're too old to trick or treat. You're teenagers. So she decided, I'm going to give them treats, and I'm going to lace them with arsenic.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll teach them. We
just joke about that. We don't do it.
Yeah. Helen Pfeil. Nice job. I had the first house Rosemary and I ever bought. Our first home was about 3 houses up from a high school, and it was on a hill, on a steep hill, and we never had trick-or-treaters ever. They were. If you went to the top of the hill, it was full of trick-or-treaters, but no kids would come down the hill because then they would have to walk back up the hill. And our neighbor said, you won't get any. And we're like, no, we'll get them. We'll put jack-o'-lanterns out in the front yard. We'll have a cool orange light in the porch, and we'll get them. And we never got any, except for, again, we're about 3 houses up from a high school. The defensive backfield for the Grady High Titans showed up one day right out of practice. Like 6 dudes, all bigger than me.
Yeah.
You got any candy?
Yeah,
take it all. Just don't beat me up in front of my wife. You're in high school.
All in the same costume by coincidence.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
And then when the cross-country team came through, you had nothing.
In 2014 in Vendargue, France. Vendargue. It's French for look out for this place. They had a bit of a problem. Adults dressed as clowns have been terrorizing the town since 2014. And then they had to pass legislation recently. It's illegal for anyone over the age of 12 to wear a clown costume or even makeup.
Well, except during Fashion Week.
Well, that's true. It's always a different thing.
Those weird French clowns with the white, all dressed in white and white pancake makeup, kind of mimey.
Same with the Moulin Rouge.
Right.
In an attempt to decrease robberies and crime on Halloween, Walnut Creek, California has banned the wearing of masks without a permit.
Oh,
well, you got to get a permit.
It's time to ban California.
During the 19th century, the spread of tuberculosis, or as it's also known, consumption, it claimed... There's your TB check.
Blood.
Claimed the lives of entire families.
Oh, wow.
In Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and other parts of New England. Before physicians were able to explain how infectious diseases were spread, hopeless villagers believed some of those who perished had preyed upon their living family members like vampires. They didn't realize you can spread germs through the air by your coughing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. They thought, oh my God, they're coming at these vampiric people are infecting my loved ones. This spurred the practice of digging up the recently dead to burn their internal organs.
Well, that's the first route you take usually.
And remember, in the 19th century, New England was like the more cultured part of America. So what the hell were they doing down in Tallahassee?
Right? No kidding. Well, this is the upside of lazier generations, not willing to walk up and down a hill for treats.
See, that's
Back
exactly
then, they
right.
were digging bodies up, and we'd be like, we'd talk, you going to go dig that body up and burn those organs? I mean.
Come on.
Now it's
not a
late.
chance.
I just ate.
The 2018 film Halloween, just called Halloween. They just stopped numbering them, and then I guess it's not a remake of the first one, but they just went back to the basics. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Depending on how gray Jamie Lee Curtis' hair is.
I guess that's what that is.
Yeah.
The guy who played Michael Myers, his name is James Jude Courtney. He was taught how to kill in the movie, how to make your kills look more realistic by an honest-to-God mafia hitman.
Wow, that's going all the way.
Here's the story. A hitman was released from prison and then through some sort of random breadcrumb in life story ended up living with James Jude Courtney. The hitman went to see a film that Courtney directed called The Hit List and said, your kills are not realistic. Let me show you how this would really go.
Right.
And Courtney used all that knowledge when he played Michael Myers in the movie Halloween.
So this hitman murdered people with a big kitchen knife?
He was a knife specialist. They had to vet him for that.
Maybe so, man.
Wow, all right.
There was a early days first tour ever for my former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, 1990. We met a guy at a gig in Providence, Rhode Island named Norman Mowry. He introduced himself. He just walked into the dressing room and said, "You guys are great. You remind me of the Rolling Stones. That's my favorite band." And we're like, "Wow, this guy's like one of those Northeastern movie characters you hear about." And he goes, "Yeah, I brought you guys a bottle of Jack Daniels. You want a sip?" And we're like, yes, free alcohol. Thank you. As we meet, I'm wearing a pair of boots that have a hole in the bottom of them. My foot is wet and cold. It's Rhode Island. Yes, I want free alcohol. He turned up at several gigs that year, and every gig, even like we're out opening for Aerosmith in an arena, he just walks into the dressing room. Never has a pass. Anywhere he goes, he just walks in. And finally, we're like, man, Norman is like, he knows all the promoters.
Connected?
He must know the promoters. And then we're like, he wears some kind of funny clothes. He looks like one of those guys he kind of looks like a guy in Mean Streets, maybe. Or what's the? And then time goes on. Probably half a dozen, 7, 8, 9 shows he's at. And again, every time he shows up, bottle of booze, owns the building we're in, apparently. And then one day, I said, "Norman, what do you do?" He goes, "I push buttons." I said, "What?" I'm sorry. He goes, "I push buttons for a family business. That's all you need to know."
Yeah. Little this, little that.
Dead serious. And then a radio promo guy who works the Northeast for the record company, he said to us, he goes, "You guys know Norman Mowry?" And we go, we don't know. He's just a fan. And he goes, yeah, just don't just be cool with him.
So not like we're pushing buttons here this morning?
No. He pushes buttons.
Yeah,
if
like
he
when
were
my mom says, "You're pushing my buttons, Brian."
He's the kind of guy who, if he had been in The Godfather 2 in front of the Senate committee, he would have said, "Yeah, the family's got a lot of buffers."
Yeah.
I mean, and our buddy Andrew Gavazos, great promo guy, said, "Yeah, he's a hitman. He kills people." And we're like, "All right, cool,
on your side."
Good to know. Very much on our side.
He had to have some kind of nickname too.
I would hope so. Yeah. I mean, Norman?
Yeah.
That doesn't really fly.
Well, Norman, the killer,
It's like mafia kids tucking their kids in at night. "You be a good boy, or Norman will come and visit you." Oh, not Norman. Jeez. I haven't said that name in public, and I should probably not mention that again. What am I doing?
His real name?
He's got friends in the Midwest.
Christ,
I've seen Fargo. There's going to be some people from Kansas City coming to pay me a visit soon.
Guy with a bottle of Jack Daniels and a big kitchen knife at the front door.
I'm going to need a disguise. Oh, I have a great idea. I'll get one of those beard transplants. Yeah, trust me. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Live and Let Die. walked into rehearsal with wings and said, "Oh, the Bond people want me to write a new song for the James Bond film. I read the book over the weekend. It's pretty good." And they all talked about it, and he sat at the piano, and he goes, "Well, I got a little melody," and he just started bopping it around, and Denny Sywell, the drummer, said, 10, maybe 15 minutes. He was like, "Does this feel like something?" And he just played, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that'll probably work, Paul." Good one.
Kind of a show-off, isn't he? No wonder he's always sitting by himself in a studio. You're like, oh, he's just... People are like, yeah, he just thinks in music, so I come over here and smoke cigarettes.
I was watching the Get Back documentary where he pulls the song Get Back out of the ether.
Amazing.
You're watching it, and I remember on Twitter, people were like, he had written it at home, and he just wanted it to look like he just pulled... I'm like... Okay, but so what? So he wrote it at home instead of in that chair. He still pulled it out of the air.
Chat GPT wrote that. Yeah. And then he came in and sat down and pretended like he wrote it.
Yeah, man, no kidding. Paul McCartney, a man who, it's been a long time, but boy, when he would rock the full beard, he looked good.
Yeah.
He'd get that, the Let It Be era, beard era, McCartney solo album. He had it going on.
All those guys, a beard, I'm trying to think of Ringo. He definitely went through a beard stage.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that was in the movie Caveman. But those guys, John, too.
John went big, but George, all things must pass. George had the old hermit beard
and
going.
These were the baby face dudes, but they could rock the facial hair. Always a bit envious. I don't, I've got one going on, but it's like this wispy. Mine's more, if I could glamorize it, more Dylan-esque, just wispy and not patchy. I've got big patches.
Bob Dylan or Dylan Thomas? There's a difference.
Dylan Thomas. Who the hell is Dylan Thomas?
Welsh poet, drank himself to death at the White Horse Tavern in New York City.
Identify with that?
More of a Fitzgerald
Rage
guy
Against
myself.
the Dying of the Light, dude.
Yeah, don't know.
Come on, it's a classic.
I don't have a college degree.
That's my new, you know what? I just came up with it. Bob Dylan Thomas. That's my new lounge act. And I'm going to do Dylan versions of Dylan Thomas songs.
I'll go to the Golden Smog
Rage against
show.
the dying of the light. Rage. It's a rage. It's a rage against the dying of the light. This is, by the way, print this. This is a moneymaker. I can't believe it took me this long to come up with Bob Dylan Thomas.
Suddenly I'm pining for islands in the stream.
I knew I'd get you. See, it's a long. I'm always planting seeds. I'm going to bring you back around to islands in the stream. Come on, man. All right, I'm writing this down. Bob Dylan Thomas. That's a hit. That's a hit for.
What's the other one you had? The James Brown.
James Beige.
Yeah, that's it.
James Beige is a good one.
This is a good
I just
one.
picture my dad singing James Brown songs.
Some comfortable slacks.
Your father's got a brand new bag, son. Son, it's a man's world. I'd like to talk to you about it.
I
Hit it.
am a sex machine.
You've got to get up, get on up. Get up. Get on up.
That does sound like a dad thing.
That's my dad in the morning. Get up. Get on up. Son, get up. Get on up.
That's fantastic.
Like a dance machine, like a sex machine, son. Get out of bed and get on up. Yeah, James Beige is always. I got all the money. Those are Halloween costumes. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got to do for Halloween.
I love it.
James Beige.
You have to wear a sign.
I need a little room for this here good foot. Son, hit me.
Not asking you, I'm telling you.
Your father's got a brand new bag, son. I hope you don't mind if I set it down right here. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Oh man, come on! Literally, I could that could be with the right band and the right. I mean, you have to put some effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could full on make James Beige just a household name.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Please, baby, you did me wrong, son. She did me wrong. Baby, take my hand. I want to be your lover, man. Come on, that'd be great. All right, enough of that. Well, actually, no. I'm just getting started. Who am I kidding? Baby, you're on my mind. You're leaving me. I don't feel so vague in mind. I lost my baby. That's when I lost my heart. Can you imagine? Oh, the kids will come from miles around to see James Beige. Get a sweater going. That would be fantastic.
It would be super bad.
It would be super bad.
Yeah.
But James Beige is clean shaven, unlike back to the beginning, Paul McCartney, who had a great beard. But I'm reminded of the fact it is Halloween week, so we've got to there's a touch of a creepiness to a lot of the stories today. A French business student has taken his own life, and that is tragic. But the events that led to it are kind of weird. He went to Istanbul in Turkey for a medical procedure.
What?
He went to Istanbul and paid a surgeon only about $2,000 for a procedure that would have cost 5 times as much had he done it in his home country of France. The medical procedure was a beard transplant. A beard transplant. The problem was he gave that money and had the procedure done by someone pretending to be a surgeon. It was an online clinic website he found.
Okay.
It appeared credible. There was a certification from Turkey's Ministry of Health, but he later found out the guy that performed his beard transplant was not a medical professional, but instead a realtor. I'm not a realtor, but I play a doctor in Turkey.
That's
Wait,
where
what?
the woman went and she got the breast job. She was like 19 or 20, and
That's right.
Yes.
her nipple fell off.
Yep.
Yes.
Her nipples
But she got a hell of
fell
a
off.
deal, too.
Yeah. In
Oh,
Turkey.
yeah, bargain rates.
Yeah.
Bargain rates.
No doubt about it, except that.
After the procedure, this young gentleman's, Matthew Latour, his beard was odd-shaped, and he said it grew at an unnatural angle like, quote, a hedgehog.
Like straight out? Or
I'm not really sure what that means. But yeah, you gotta look into these things a little bit more. The plan was to remove 4,000 hair grafts from the back of his head and then move them to his face.
I mean, do you have a bald spot then in the back of your head?
I maybe so. I'm not really sure.
Were they doing this during an open house? I mean, see, I would just wonder what's going on here.
You'll notice the Jack and Jill bedrooms with the one bathroom. And hold on, this is going to hurt for a minute. Hold on.
It's got to be that. It's got to be more pubish. They should have taken it from downstairs. It's a beard. It has to have that curl to it.
Well, you would
can't
think.
just be your hedgehog back of your head hair.
Yeah, this was pretty bad. The doctors. After this failed. He was suffering mentally and physically. He was in pain. There was apparently a burning sensation. He found a guy in Belgium, a hair transplant specialist, who actually does this work.
Yeah.
And the dude said about 1,000 of those 400 hair grafts on your scalp will not grow back. There's going to be permanent scarring. And all of this led to this kid having a really, he developed a body dysmorphic disorder. He just couldn't get out of his own head about it.
Yeah.
And he sadly took his own life. And there's nothing good no way am I making light of that situation.
Right.
I will say this, however, going to a country like Turkey for any medical procedure. No, you live in France. Go find a Western doctor who's legitimate, who speaks French, and who will say to you, you know what? You're not going to have a beard. Go have a good life.
Yeah, be a baby face. Chicks will dig that at a certain age.
You'll be fine. You don't need a beard, dude.
Yeah. It's a pain in the ass. You get food in it all the time.
Yeah. I can't grow a beard.
Starts to smell.
I've had beards. I've had good full beards, and they look amazing from 20 feet away.
Yeah, itchy.
If you get close, you'll see all the little patches where they don't, where it's like the comb over beard.
Right.
You know, it looks good in photos and it looks good on stage and it looks good from across the street. But if you get real close, you're going to notice like, hey, you got some areas where there's not much beard happening.
Oh yeah, mine's like that. Mine's terrible, but I just don't like to shave and I don't have to make a living. So I just go with kind of a fake beard. It's not a big deal, dude. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but we would hear about people hopping down to Mexico for implants or whatever, and they're using bathroom caulk. You know, you gotta go to the real deal if you want something like that.
Man, I'm going to be, I'll just be honest. For the rest of the show, if I'm a little distracted, I'm gonna commit to this James Beige thing. I'm going to do a lot.
I'm loving that.
I'm going to book a gig next year in town. I'll put a crack band together, and I'm just going to get up there and I'll be wearing wingtips and just dress like my dad in 1967.
That's fantastic.
You know what I'm sensing here? I'm sensing James Beige getting together with world-famous producer Tony Toon.
Oh, man. That's
nice.
going to be great.
Yeah, That would be a combination right there. That's
you got to carry your mic in a bowling bag.
Yeah.
This is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing. Nothing without a woman or a girl.
Whatever you got.
Just the most insane thing ever. Standing on stage, bring the lights down. You see, man made the cars to take us over the road. Man made the train to carry the heavy load.
Yeah.
Hit it.
There's a reason we couldn't understand these lyrics, you know?
Yeah, really, man.
A lot of...
Man thinks about our little bitty baby girls and our baby boys. Man made them happy because man made them toys. Hit it.
What about that, like the grunting? James Bay is going to be more of like, getting out of the recliner.
It's not a grunt. It's more like, he made those baby toys.
Clearing of the throat.
Clear your throat. Excuse me, sir. Would you get up off of that thing?
Yeah.
Get up off of that thing and bring me a Terryton. Because I'd rather fight than switch.
Well, when you get for the encore, when you get down on your knees, they can't drape you with the cape. What would you?
Damn it, I have to go.
I think one of those Mr. Rogers sweaters or something.
A cardigan.
They put the cape on me. Get your hands off me. As they're dragging me off stage. I will press charges. All right. Thanks for being a part of the creative process, guys. We've got ourselves a caper. We got something to work on for next year. Valentine's night. This is a show for lovers. All right, fair enough. Good to have a plan. I got a plan. We're going to give away some hockey tickets. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Tuesday morning. It is October the 29th. The Minnesota Wild are playing the Los Angeles Kings November the 5th at the XL Energy Center, and we would love to give away a couple of tickets. Right now, callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. Callers 9 and 2 on the KQ Talk and Text line will play for tickets to see the Wild and the Kings November the 5th. Hit those phones. Lock yourself in. Let's have a good time, shall we?
Let's do it.
I'm not talking about you. You can't play, Zup. I'm not saying unless you and me have
I can
fun.
play. I got game.
Is that true? You got game?
That means I don't know. Not exactly.
All right. Well, as the phone lines light up as they do, let's talk for a minute about East St. Paul.
Oh, halftime wreck.
Yeah.
For a good time.
Is that
for every Christmas party that we've ever had?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I think it is. East St. Paul is like most of St. Paul that I know. It goes from Larpenter to McKnight. I don't know. Someone explained it to me once, but I lump halftime wreck into East St. Paul. I don't know what the boundaries are over there. I think they change every day.
I know this. My first night with KQ staff out having a pop or two was at the halftime wreck.
I know, and it seems like it's on the west side, right? Because you just kind of cross right around.
But not in West St. Paul. Definitely in St. Paul.
It's in St. Paul.
But if you're listening in East St. Paul, then this is for you.
Yes.
I wish I was having breakfast right there. Right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
By breakfast, I mean a shot of Jameson in my coffee.
That'll work. We can make that happen. It's the old, it's the classic line. Who put coffee in my coffee?
That's right.
we've all heard ourselves say those words.
Yeah.
What's this coffee doing in this mug? What the hell? It's 9 a.m. Why? Who's drinking coffee right now? It's crazy. All right, so we got hockey tickets. The Minnesota Wild, I'll just come clean. With the World Series going on and the NBA starting, I have not been paying attention quite yet to the Wild, but they're playing pretty good hockey, generally speaking.
They're in the middle. I mean, it's too early to really look at standings. I don't look at that kind of stuff. They just lost to the Flyers, I think, last time out. By a couple of goals, but they're putting the puck in the net, and they were on a little win streak before that. And
5-1-2. That's not bad for 8 games.
No, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and then they'll be coming home here, playing some games at home, and hopefully. But yeah, it's good to see them scoring some goals. You know. They've got it going on. They've got the power play working. They're a power play kind of team. That's what they sort of revolve around, getting that puck in the net on the power plays, and they're getting the job done. And came up a little short against the Flyers, but I watched that game. But they had 5 goals.
Yeah.
I'll take it every time. I'm a fan who appreciates scoring. Call me crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of scoring, we got a couple callers who are looking to score some tickets right now. Tony, what sort of game have you concocted for today's performance?
No, Steve, I don't know if you've been feeling it. It's kind of a spooky week. Let's play this with our fine contestants. Okay, Halloweenies. We're going to test your knowledge of movie monsters. With a brief clue, you tell us who matches the description. It's the monster match. Ooh, scary kids.
I like it.
Blah.
Let's do it. I'm excited. You're excited.
Yeah.
And now we got to see if our contestants are excited. Who do we have on the horn, Tony?
First up is Barry from New Prague.
Barry, good morning.
Morning.
How you feeling, brother? Everything good so far today?
Yeah, great day so far.
Excellent. Give me your favorite band, Barry.
Ty, Pink Floyd, and Tom Petty.
Man, I was hoping you'd go Bee Gees with a name like Barry. All right, give me your favorite team, any sport.
Oh, rest in peace, number 7, Coach Reggie Dunlop. We're going with the Charlestown Chiefs.
Right on.
All right, old-time hockey.
Yeah, that'll work every day around here. All right, Barry, so we're playing movie monster match game. Are we going back and forth, or are we doing one contestant at a time?
Let's go back and forth.
All right, Barry, sit tight 1 second. Tony, who is contestant number 2?
He's going to be joined by Al from New Richmond.
Al, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
We're great, brother. Thank you. You're sounding pretty chipper. Al, give me your favorite band.
Oh, Journey, because they don't stop believing that the Minnesota Wild's the best NHL hockey team.
Oh, boy. You sound like a fair arranger.
Idealist.
Yeah, I think we got the answer to who your favorite team is as well. Very well done, sir. All right, we're playing Movie Monster Match Game. Gentlemen, best of luck to both of you. Tony, take it away.
All right, Barry, first up. He loved the nightlife, was very pale from lack of sunlight, and he sucked. Was it A, The Count of Monte Cristo, B, Dracula, or C, Dr. Phil?
B, Dracula.
Yes, correct. Very scary.
Well, now, hold on a second here.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. If you're late, you just don't have respect for yourself.
You can suck this.
How appropriate.
Wow. Oh, Phil, we hardly knew ye.
When are you coming over so I can F you?
Oh, my God. Didn't know we were going down that range. Down that road.
Okay. Al, number 2 is for you. He lived on Elm Street and had skin issues. Was it A, Freddy Krueger, B, it's a Freddy Krueger, Freddie Mercury, or Freddie Fender?
Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
Yep, that is right.
Kids, always a disappointment.
I tell you what, if you can whip up AI where Freddy Krueger is singing Wasted Days and Wasted Nights, then you're taking advantage of some technology.
Back to Barry, number 3. On Friday the 13th, he puts on a hockey mask and reflects on how he just can't shake the memory of being ignored by his promiscuous camp counselors. Is it A, Jason Sudeikis, B, Jason Bateman, or C, Jason Voorhees?
C?
Don't say it with a question.
C or
feel good about your answer.
Well done, Barry. You're 2 for 2.
Yes, good job, Bear. All right, Al. In all 6 of the series, it all starts with a phone call. From then on, who the killer is yours to guess, and it's really a scream to find out. Is it A, Leatherface, B, Ghostface, or C, Pizza Face?
A, Leatherface?
Nope, I'm sorry, that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We're looking at the Scream series with B, Ghostface.
We got to do a comedy haunted question here. I love comedy.
I thought Scream was a comedy.
All right.
It wasn't scary.
I love comedy. All right, next up, is that Barry or Al? I lost
It's
track
time
here.
for Barry.
Barry, it's your time. Known for needing a shave, consuming plenty of protein, and being comfortable in the woods. Is it A, Wolfman, B, Batboy, C, Paul Bunyan?
Wolfman.
Right on.
Bingo. All right, back to Al. Time to get back on that horse, Al.
Yes, sir.
Back to Al. His many charms included a limited vocabulary, bolts on his neck, and a Jewish-sounding name. Is it A, Frank the Tank, B, Al Franken, or C, Frankenstein?
Frankenstein.
Correct.
Man.
All right, next up. Although he was easy to outrun, he could cause a lot of damage when he'd come unraveled from being too wrapped up in his work. A, the Swamp Thing, B, the Mummy, C, the Orthopedist.
The Mommy.
The Mommy, yes.
A nice Minnesota accent there. I like it. And he had a brother with mold growing out of his ears.
Yuck. Next, if you enjoy seeing some clown torment the town by feeding on the psychological fear of his victims, then this is definitely it. Is it A, Pennywise, B, Penny Marshall's ghost, C, Bozo the Beheader?
B.
Oh, Penny Marshall's ghost. For Pete's sake.
That's sad man.
That is Pennywise would be the...
Penny Marshall's ghost.
All right, 2 left, fellas.
You're cute, Richie, but I don't know.
All right, next up is a Barry or Al. I lost track. Who's up here?
Yeah,
it's time for Barry.
All right, Barry. There's 2 more, lads. It was quite a trick escaping the institution and a treat to pay his sister or a babysitter a visit. Is it A, Mitch Mitchell, B, Michael Myers, or C, Michael Nesmith?
B.
Yes, Michael
Now you're
Myers,
talking.
of course. Very disturbed.
Mitch Mitchell.
And the last one, big and strong with acid for blood. This rascal just might break your heart by bursting out of your chest. A, Alien, B, Predator, C, Rambo.
A, Alien?
That is correct. Nice work. All right,
fellas.
Al.
That was Al. That's bringing your total to 3 out of 5, which is a solid effort. But I'm afraid Barry ran the table. 5 for 5, Barry.
Wow.
Good job, brother. You have won tickets. Minnesota Wild hosting the LA Kings November the 5th. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing. Barry, have a great time at the game.
Thank you. I appreciate the offer. And
Nice guy.
Yeah, it was really nice. That's good.
Oh, wasn't that scary?
It sure was, Count Floyd. I tell you what's scary. I've never heard of this. Are you guys familiar with Minnesota's Hairy Man of the Vergas Trails? No? Apparently, Sci-Fi's Haunted Highway show did a story on the Hairy Man of Vergas Trails. For decades, this small town has been rocked by strange animals' death, supposedly at the hands of an 8-foot-tall creature from the woods. The Hairy Man of Vergas Trails.
Yeah.
It's news to me, but I know where I'm not going to go for a hike.
East St. Paul?
Exactly.
I've been taking a tongue lashing here this morning.
What do you mean?
Halftime Rikers, not in East St. Paul, you idiot. I forgot it was happy hour in St. Paul already. Angry drunks.
Look, we're having fun.
I don't know where it's at.
If we want the halftime wreck to be in Aberdeen, we'll put it there. Okay.
Dabber.
We're just trying to have a good time. And by the way, let's have a good time. You got a horror story you can tell in 5 words or less? Give me a horror story in 5 words. We've got a post up on the KQ Facebook page. You can text us at 651-989-ROCK, or you can phone it in. Horror story in 5 words. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, October the 29th. Eagles, Life in the Fast Lane. A song inspired by an actual moment in time. Glenn Fry hopped into a friend's car, and they were driving on the 101 in Hollywood, going to a late-night poker game. And they were doing about 100 miles an hour. And Glenn Fry realized, I'm in a convertible with my buddy. He's doing 100. And, he's also my cocaine dealer.
Yeah.
And he said to the guy, hey, you're not holding now, are you? And the guy said, I got a trunk full of drugs. And Glenn Fry goes, you think you ought to slow it down a little? And the guy looked at him and goes, hey, man, life in the fast lane. And Glenn Fry told that story. He's like, hey, that's a good song title.
Yeah.
I got to get to work on that one.
That's why you do that kind of stuff.
Being in the Eagles in the late 70s, boy, that must have been something. Something. Halloween every day of the year. No telling what was going on behind the scenes. A horror story in 5 words or less is what we're looking for. Boy, the KQRS Facebook page just exploded. Literally hundreds of horror stories in 5 words or less. And I'm going to stick to the rules. There's some funny ones that went over 5 words. Yeah. Sorry, we're not going to share those.
No, can't do it.
This is a good one. Halfway house across my house.
Oh, that's a good one.
That works. The first one that came to mind when horror story in 5 words, your mother and I acid. That's what I thought of. But I just thought, like, what could be the scariest thing of a child would be my dad saying that to me.
Grandma has a bondage orgy. That would be.
That's pretty rough.
Shared a dick pic to Facebook. That's a good one.
Yeah. We're out of toilet paper. That's obviously something everybody can relate to.
Yeah. Also toilet related. Live alone. Toilet was warm. Oh.
Hey, all right.
Oh, creepy.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Like it a lot.
Those heated seats.
We'll take a horror story in 5 words or less. Or do you have one, Ryder? Are you sitting on a good one, or are you just letting the listeners have all the fun?
Listeners let them flow. Yeah.
Tony.
What came to mind was Zepp stopped by to visit.
There you go.
That's also mine.
Where Gorman dropped his pants suddenly.
Or as we call it around here, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Dow. Quick morning shout out to Hudson Lee, 16th birthday.
Thank you.
The kid is 16 today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Golly.
I know. Can you believe that? Sweet 16, my little baby boy.
I remember going to the hospital to see him that first time.
Yes.
Golly.
You were that creepy guy in the corner.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's weird that I ended up back here working with you, isn't it, after all these years?
Odd he showed up to the delivery room.
I was just thinking of this.
You can't always get what you want.
My little baby boy,
Come on,
16.
there he is, 16 years old. It's all over but the shouting. Drive safe, Hudson. How's he doing with the driving?
He just started. Yeah, started training.
The training. All right.
Yeah, Dad just started getting stressed.
Is he trick-or-treating? He's 16. Is he in?
No,
He's got to be out by now.
No, yeah, he's out.
All right,
little August is in.
August? What's August do? What's the costume for August?
I think he's going to go with the inflatable Patrick from SpongeBob.
Yeah, that'll work. So August is what, 12? 13?
Yeah, he just turned.
Yeah. Okay, so
12.
that's perfectly appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 4 adults will be dressing up for Halloween this year. 1 in 4. The top costumes, a fictional character, an animal, or a creature. Only 13% of the 25% of adults, 13% of the adults who will be dressing up said they're going with a sexy nurse, sexy teacher.
Yeah.
That seems low.
I'm all for it. I think there should be guidelines for who gets to be sexy at Halloween.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I never go out on Halloween. Is that what people are doing out there, dressing up sexily?
Yeah, sure.
All right, go for it.
Sexy everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy decapitated guy, sexy
sales rep.
Right.
Sexy sales rep. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've gone to a Halloween party in costume since 1995. That's almost 30 years.
Yeah.
When is Rosemary went in a Catholic schoolgirl, still wearing her Catholic schoolgirl skirt and white shirt and the thing. She had and I was just like the creepy Monsignor guy. I had the robe and I grew a mustache and then shaved it so it was just across the top of the lip.
Yeah.
That really thin, creepy guy, slick back hair. That was a bit of a look for the two of us at a party, but I think that's probably the last time. Did some Halloween dress up with the band on tour. We would, if it was Halloween, we would open for ourselves as a costumed band. BCDC once, we all dressed like Angus Young, did AC/DC songs. But yeah, costume party dressed up as an adult. Haven't done it. Ryder, last time you were in a Halloween costume?
Oh, it was 4 or 5 years ago, and I stole this one from a KQ listener. He said, tape a leaf to your hat with a string hanging down, and you can be a leaf blower.
Ah.
Wow.
That's good.
That is pretty good.
That was one I whipped together about 5 minurtes before we left.
Sure you did.
Yeah.
Sure you did. Tony, last time you were in costume for Halloween?
I've found like this polyurethane orange jumpsuit, and I wore sunglasses and carried a gun. I was Agent Orange.
Nice. Very nice.
I mean, how long ago are we talking?
Just a few years.
Yeah.
Not that bad. I love a good Halloween party.
Yeah, I've been in that orange jumpsuit before.
Sure.
A couple of times.
Liking that one. I'm always blown up. When you see a great costume, I always get really excited, but it never transfers to, I got to do one of those one of these years. I just never did it much. The best one I've seen this year online was somebody had a wagon, you know, the red wagon you pull your kid around in. He had rigged it up so that it looked like a putting green. And there was a big hole in the middle of the putting green, and then his child was in a gopher costume with his head poking out.
Okay.
It was like a Caddyshack reference, like the little hole, the gopher and Caddyshack. A lot of work to do for a movie that's 44 years old, but I appreciated the effort.
Yeah,
I really did.
Yeah, that's nice.
My son's favorite ever Halloween costume was when he was Slash Polamalu. He went as a hybrid Slash from Guns N' Roses and all Hall of Pro Safety Troy Polamalu.
That's
because
brilliant.
they have the same hair.
Yeah.
It was one wig fits all, and he did the combo platter.
As far as I know, they were the same person. Never saw them in the same place.
The Polamalu jersey, the wig, the top hat, the Les Paul. It was fantastic.
I love it.
And about every third dad would go, "Oh my God, are you Slash Polamalu?" He was like, yeah, you could tell the hipster dads, dads who were on top of that one. I went to college at Western Kentucky University. Romeo Crennel, famed NFL not great head coach, went there. One of the guys who flew one of the space shuttles went there. Don't even know his name, which tells you how important I find him.
Something.
The dude who played Superman on Smallville went to Western Kentucky University. And then your fourth member of the Mount Rushmore alumni statue, John Carpenter. Creator and director of many a great film, a Western Kentucky University Hilltopper. John Carpenter would come back to Bowling Green, Kentucky occasionally and speak to kids in the creative arts thing. And I never got to see him, but I would always hear about it, and everybody was like, nah, he's really cool, man. I was talking with John Carpenter. And he shot Halloween 2 at an abandoned hospital in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I remember that hospital.
That hospital, pretty chilling. And so when I got to school there, it was empty. There was nothing happening. It was at the very top of a large hill, aptly called Hospital Hill. And that's where you would go sledding in the winter.
Yeah.
You'd go to the top of the hill. And then up there, 2 winters in a row, big snowstorm, everyone's sledding at night. And then it's, do you want to go in the hospital? An abandoned hospital that we had already seen Jamie Lee Curtis terrorized in. Yeah. And you would go, there's like a window. You'd break in, and it had already broken. You'd climb in and walk the dark halls of that exact location.
Very cool.
And honestly, like not too cool to say. Scared to my just wit scared out of me being in there because Halloween was the one movie I went to as a kid in the theater where I was like, I'm gonna soil myself. I'm not ready for this. This is way too much for me. Halloween 2 just added to it. The mask worn by Michael Myers in Halloween. The most just transparent, nothing happening, and yet in that context, terrifying mask ever. You know, to TV and film, if there's one thing that's never changed until the era of Netflix is they'll do anything to save a buck.
Oh, John Carpenter. That was the hallmark of his movies.
Yeah, man. A Shatner mask. Remove those sideburns. Make it a little more white than it really is. Poof the hair up. And then you've got the most iconic, scary mask of all time.
Oh, please don't tell me how to do it. It sickens me.
I remember, but I'm dead serious about that. Sitting in the theater, having snuck in to see Halloween. You pay for the PG movie, and then when they're not looking, you run into the R-rated theater. Brooke Lawson, my buddy, and I walked out of there just like freaked out. I'd never seen anything like that on a big screen. Big difference between watching it on cable and watching it in the movie theater. And it was the talk of, but apparently nothing like, let's go back since we're talking about scary movies, 1973, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
A movie that by the time I saw it on, like, say, cable, it wasn't even HBO. There was an old original cable channel called Spotlight, and that's where you'd get in like your crappy small town. We didn't have HBO yet, so we had something called Spotlight, but they were showing The Exorcist. And on TV, and after hearing about it for years, it did not freak me out. I mean, the head spinning, I was like, whatever. And she's vomiting pea soup, and I'm like, okay, I'd already heard about it. Yeah. So it really didn't have the 1980, by the time I saw it, I didn't care. However, let's go back to that movie in theaters, 1973. This is real. Walking out of the movie theater, man on the street reporting for people's thoughts on The Exorcist.
I think it's disgusting.
Grossest thing I've ever seen. It's weird.
She turned her head.
We have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint.
I ain't never took my coat and hit it over my face like that.
I saw recently a scary, great movie experience was the movie Get Out, the Jordan Peele film.
Yeah, that was good.
In a theater where people are just yelling, but it's okay because they're just so freaked out by the end. And then when they get away at the end, the cheering and people are. Connell and I went, and we were walking out of the theater like high-fiving strangers. It was just a really, really great moment. It was like everybody was in a good mood, and it was really exhilarating.
How scary!
It was but because they all got out, it was scary in the middle, and then at the end, the relief at the end. But that said. Have you ever been in a theater when people were truly freaking out because of the fear factor? Do you remember that ever?
Yeah.
What was it?
Two of them. Well, Jaws. People were
that makes sense.
Screeching, and I went to see The Exorcist at a theater, and I brought my fake ping pong ball eyes, and I put them in, and I turned around to the person behind me. I just said, "Do you know what time it is?" Blood-curdling shriek.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just lifelong special right
so
there.
So worth it.
Silence of the Lambs came out in 1991 on Valentine's Day. And I was in Chicago, and Rosemary had flown up to visit, and we went to see it opening night. And I had read the book because Silence of the Lambs, the book had...
Great book.
With the movie on the way, the book just took off again, had a second life to the buildup. So I just read it, so I kind of understood what was going on. But in that film, we're in the theater in Chicago, and at the very last scene, when Jodie Foster goes into the basement, and the senator's daughter is in the well with Precious the dog, and you know that dude, James Gumb, is coming after her. When he kills the lights, and it's pitch black, and then his vision goggles, the night vision goggles, that's the sound. When those turned on, I'm not exaggerating. Call Rosemary right now. She'll tell you. At least a dozen women got up and left the theater.
Oh, wow.
I mean, all three aisles, people were just hoofing it and talking as they're no way am I sitting there. They were freaking out. And Rosemary said to me, she goes, I can't, I'm going to the lobby. I said, no, you're not going to the lobby. I'm like quietly, but I'm like, just close your eyes. But I'm not. No, we're here.
You could have made up the ending for her when you came out. That would have been fun.
Really could have. Oh, my God, he ate Jodie Foster's kidneys.
Jodie Foster was the killer the entire time. It was her butchering everyone.
She killed James Gumb like he wasn't even, like it was nothing. And that woman in the well, I tell you what, seriously, and that was another one when that left, people were... it wasn't a murmur as everyone's egressing. It was just like, everybody was really freaked out.
Oh, phenomenal ending, too.
And my son, just for the first time, he's 24. Connell watches Silence of the Lambs last week. Never seen it. And he goes, well... I guess in 91 that was pretty awesome, but he goes, but like it's like every episode of Criminal Minds condensed into 190 minutes. I was like, he goes, they've just ripped it off so badly. He goes, I've just seen every one of those tropes so many times. I go, yeah, but in 91 it was new, you punk.
I mean, now they're watching, what is it? What was the one somebody just sent me? Somebody just texted me this morning. Did I see it? Oh, yeah, Terrifier. Terrifier 3 is out. You guys seen the Terrifier movies?
I've never heard of those.
Oh, you'd love it. Grab the kids.
Really?
Yeah, Terrifier. It's called.
Gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's 4 levels grosser than Human Centipede.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, it's real gore fest.
I can say that Silence of the Lambs, yes, maybe to the kid born in 2000, now in 2024, it didn't really move him that much. But I did get this in. By the way, the guy that played James Gumb was so good in that movie, he never worked again. He's only been in a handful of things ever since. Ted Levine, I believe his name was, right? Ted Levine. He was in Heat, I think. With De Niro and Pacino. He's one of the cops, maybe. But, I've seen an interview with him where he's like...
What is it, Musk, Lump? What was the name of that movie? Or that television show?
Monk?
Monk.
Was he on Monk?
Yeah. He was the police chief.
Oh, okay. That's right. I've seen interviews where he said, for solid 3-4 years after Silence of the Lambs, he'd walk in, they'd be like, oh, no, sorry, dude. Can't get past it. And then, of course, the whole, the dance... where he tucks himself in, that where he backs away from the camera. His idea on set. Wasn't in the script. That's a good bit of improv right there.
Iconic.
If I tuck Big Jim and the Twins in between my legs and dance backwards, can we put that in the movie?
We've all done it.
He probably didn't use that voice when he was suggesting it to Ted Demme. Maybe not.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Oh, man. That's a line that was repeated for years in my world. That was the one, we saw it and you're all like, oh wait, was she a great big fat person? Hey, the Eagles have added more shows. Check this out. The Eagles have added more gigs in 2025 to their residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Of course they have. If you could print money, you'd do it more too, and you could be there. I've seen videos of all the shows at the Sphere, and the Eagles. It's a little different. It's not so in your face, trying to blow your mind. But the bits I've seen where they're on stage, it's just like you're on a road trip through the forest or over the mountains. It's really good stoner imagery. Kind of watching on that huge screen at the Sphere.
Do the bands even need to show up? Really?
I don't think they do. I really don't.
I just can't imagine watching those codgers on stage and thinking. I mean, the screen would be where the show's at.
It's absolutely where the show is at. The Eagles are adding more shows. We would love to send you. You can score a trip for two. That includes flights, of course, a 2-night stay at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas, and tickets to the concert, plus a VIP experience package. You can tune Joe Walsh's guitar. That's not true. I just made that up. Text the national keyword CAN, C-A-N, to 95819 for a chance to win. Top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. We have been to the mountaintop. Stairway to heaven, ladies and gentlemen. Getting your Tuesday morning off on the right foot. With that in mind, if you're just tuning in, it's probably a good time to give you your top 5 at 9. This is what you need to get your day moving in the right direction. A new social experiment, a study of human interaction has shown good-looking people are expected to be good people, partially because being a good person makes you more attractive to others.
Ted Bundy was handsome.
He sure was.
Yeah. See, I think if you're too good looking, then you get that pass in life, and then you can grow up in a bunch of different bad ways. But yeah, people that just do good, that's attractive to us, and it's I can see that, but. You're still going to end up in the friend zone as a do-gooder.
Sure you can.
The bad boys, the Bundys.
Yeah, people apparently judge others who behave, quote, pro-socially as more attractive. So if you're volunteering, sharing, donating, you're going to look a little bit better than you already do. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, of course, to your point, Zep, friend zone, just prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, God, that guy's so great. I could never tell him my deepest, darkest secrets. He'd think less of me.
Yeah, my buddy Tracy, we tried to tell him I just had a crush on this. He goes, I do everything. I go over, I mow her lawn, I do this, I wash her car. I'm like, yeah, dude, stop doing all of that. Ignore her. Yeah. Kind of be mean to her when you see her a little bit. Certainly be dismissive.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, trust me. Just, I don't know if you ever trusted me or not. But
hey, dude, if you want to mow that lawn, stop mowing the lawn. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on, get it right, kid.
Exactly.
Here's your top 4. Here's number 4 in your top 5 at 9. Marijuana. For decades, one of the more commonly used illicit substances amongst teenagers. is on the decline. A 10-year report from Florida Atlantic University's Schmidt College of Medicine. Hey, what are they doing over there at Schmidt? They're talking to kids about weed. They have determined, the younger adolescents, 9th graders, 10th graders, way less weed than in previous generation.
Well, they have they have so many more things. Well, they have social media as an addiction and everything else. Plus, old people are so into it, now that I remember my mom and dad driving to Colorado, taking a vacation, a road trip, and mom's like, we're going to a dispensary. I'm like, what the hell are you going to do at a dispensary? Yeah, so it's like Facebook. Yeah. The kids are off Facebook now because the grandparents are on Facebook. Weeds, probably, it's like drinking slow gin or something.
I will say, there were guys that would come into the school when our kids were like middle schoolers. They'd have a parents' night at school, like, hey, come in, and we're having these developmental social scientists, doctors, smarty guys are going to come in and talk about what your kids are going through because middle school is when everything just goes out into the, forget it. Whatever plans you had, they basically would say, okay, so your kids are entering 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. For the next 4 years, forget everything you know. Their brains are about to literally turn to goo. And then it'll start to reprogram itself around 9th or 10th grade, and good luck. I mean, I once said to the guy, like the middle school director, I go, so you are honestly just, the way you look at it is, as long as they don't drown across this river, it's a win. And he goes, yeah. By the time they get to high school, then you can start making plans again. These next 4 years, they've learned so much about that brain just goes, all the connections come unplugged. Yep. It's a lot of rewiring going on. But specifically, and we had a guy come in and he said, Harvard had been doing a study on alcohol and drug use in young brains for, at that point, they had 60 years of data now. And he goes, so when you guys were kids, meaning me, when you were kids, they had 5 years of data, 10 years of data. Well, now it's 55 and 60 years. And they said, our advice is this: just delay it as long as you can. Your kids are going to drink. They're going to try weed. They're going to do these things. But the longer you wait till they start, it's better, because the adolescent brain, which has turned to mush, it as it's recircuiting, they're like, just trust us when we say that. Because they do say marijuana, it's not addictive. For the adult mind, it's perfectly fine. It's certainly no worse than drinking at all. But in an adolescent brain, it can really get in the way of things. It's just a simple heart. All my stoner friends, sorry to tell you, you don't need a 13 or 14-year-old smoking weed.
No, for me, it was just, sight on. It was my observation, because the real hardcore stoners in school that started early never went on to get a doctorate or just, a productive member of, they were just always that stoner sort of dropout, drift from one job to another. That was just my observation in a small town out in Woolsey, South Dakota. So I remember telling the girls, I'm like, I know you're going to get around to this stuff, and I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying wait. If you could just try to buy a little time and see if they can get to it a little bit later, then once you let that little brain of yours develop, go nuts.
It wasn't too hard of a conversation to have when we never said don't ever do it. It was like, hey, just the longer you wait, the better. It just made it easier for us to even open those doors, because the kids, the first thing they say is, well, do you ever do it? And I'm not going to lie to them.
I always try to give them a good example. I'm like, that little weirdo down at the end of the street that's a couple of years older that keeps to himself and everybody makes fun of? That's a pot smoker. Probably having sex too, premarital.
One of the best things a teacher ever told me in high school, my class, the kid that graduated as the top of our class, Frank Dempsey, brilliant. Just every class he ever took was an A, easily smartest kid in school by a half a mile, right? Yeah. And he was a big stoner in high school. And one day, Mr. Dennison said to a couple of us, he goes, hey, listen, you guys, I overhear. We all know what's going on, he said, somebody said something about, well, Frank smoking weed. It doesn't seem to mess him up. None of you are Frank.
None of you are Frank.
He just said full on. He goes, there's one of him every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing he's going to do that's going to derail that brain. The rest of you, do yourself a favor. Get some sleep. Drink a lot of water. He was just like full on, like, no, he's got a different set of rules. It happens. And deal with it.
Genetics are like that. They're weird. There was that kid that didn't practice as hard as you did at baseball, but he went off to a D1 school.
Exactly.
Just because he had the swing. He had the genetics.
Capital D for douchebag. Number 3 on on your top 5 at 9. The kids today, Gen Alpha, as they call them. Not Gen Z. Yeah, we got a whole new group. So schools years ago, when we all came up, high schools had smoking areas. That's no longer good. No, high schools banned cigarettes. They banned vape. They banned smartphones a lot now. And now across America, schools are banning Crocs.
The shoes. Because kids are having a hard time walking in them. They do get stuck. They're puffy. They're not your average. It's not like a sneaker that's clinging to your foot. And kids are constantly stumbling and tripping and bumbling over their Crocs. And now schools have taken the step to ban Crocs.
Oh, God. How about washing the floors?
Go figure.
I mean, they're looking down at their phones. You think they could kind of see their feet. I'm going to do a 180 on that smoking pot young thing. You Gen Alpha, you go ahead. You go ahead and smoke all the pot you want.
A podiatrist at the Illinois Bone and Joint Institute says she has seen kids and still sees adults often tripping and falling in Crocs. She said the shoe does not provide sufficient arch support, and it can keep moisture on the skin surface, which causes blisters.
All right, should we all be wearing orthopedic nursing shoes?
I tell you what, if removing moisture from the feet while wearing Crocs leads to something that's even worse than socks and Birkenstocks, which is socks and Crocs.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Nurses were the first to wear Crocs. That's how they became popular.
A lot of first responders were.
Yeah. My sister-in-law Bev, an ER nurse in Baltimore for decades, big Croc supporter in the early days. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9, Monday Night Football on December 9th. How do you take a matchup that is no one is interested in watching on Monday night and make it interesting? Well, ABC, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, they've come up with what may be a game saver.
Will the Cowboys eat the Bengals shorts? We don't know.
Another great football memory from Simpsons of yore. There was the one episode where Homer was devastated. I don't remember what led to him, but he was given the Denver Broncos. Do you remember that? At the end of the show, he's a Cowboys fan, and he ends up as the owner of the Broncos. And Marge goes, "You must be so excited," and he's devastated. And he's like, "You just don't understand." And it's just all the things that happen on that show. Number 1 on your top 5 at 9. We'll wait a quick moment because I would like to single out and say good morning, Cambridge, Minnesota.
Oh, Cambridge. That was my first radio job in Minnesota.
Really?
A big old radio station.
Now, that wasn't the Cock.
No, it wasn't the Cock. Wasn't
KOKK's in South Dakota.
That's the big Cock country out there, of course. Pheasant opener. This was last weekend. Anyway, so I WLOL. You guys all remember, Tony, certainly.
Sure.
Land of Lakes, WLOL, big radio station right here in Minneapolis. Used to listen to Hines and Berglund, and they actually said my birthday one morning for $10,000. That's the morning I think I was listening to KQ that morning. Damn it. Anyway, I'm working a scrub job down in Sioux City, Iowa, and WLOL is hiring middays. And I went, what? And so I called to see who the program director was. This is the program director. You never get the program director on the phone. I'm like, you guys are hiring for middays. He goes, yeah, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. How long have you worked in radio? About a year. And he goes, do you have your own headphones? I go, yeah. And he goes, well, all right, you're hired. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
That's all it took.
No, that radio station had sold, and they relocated it to someone's basement of someone's house in Cambridge, Minnesota.
That's nice. All right.
I worked up there for a year. Had a good time.
Yeah, very good. Well, everyone who's still in Cambridge, Minnesota, glad to have you with us.
Sorry I told that story. That was weird.
No, that's a good one.
Loved it.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 9. Speaking of weird, a St. Paul woman is under arrest for rustling. Not wrestling. Not good old-fashioned wrestling. Not leg wrestling like we've seen our friends do in Brainerd. Rustling. She stole a sheep from a farm. Here's a little bit of information to plug in the holes here.
A report of a man and woman walking a dog and a sheep. The woman who was confronted originally said that she had purchased the sheep. That turned out not to be true. What actually happened was she went to the farm and drugged the sheep out of the farm. She almost choked the sheep out. So you can't rustle people's livestock in Bloomington.
Yeah, Bloomington Police Chief Booker T. Hodges right there. I thought for a moment he was going to say she drugged the sheep.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Old South Dakota trick.
Seems like a waste of drugs.
Yeah.
The mugshot on this woman is going to haunt me forever.
Seriously, you said it best. She's got like the big headbutt sore right there in the middle of the forehead. I think she's like got some weird sheep fetish where she might think she's
trying to get a sheep to headbutt her, ram her, ramming sheep.
When you say prison tattoo, everyone knows a very homemade, sketchy tattoo of a sheep on her cheek.
On her cheek.
Yeah.
Sheep on the cheek.
Sheep on the cheek. Oh, I love that bar in England.
Hang on. Sheep cheek or cheek sheep? What's the band name? Sheep cheek.
Sheep cheek.
Chic sheep.
Chic cheek. Sheep cheek.
5 times fast.
Man, forget it.
She sells sheep cheek on the seashore.
Red leather, yellow leather. The name of this band is red leather, yellow leather. Say it fast 3 times. Good night.
And by the way, there's a sheep farm in Bloomington. Where's that over?
That's weird.
It's in the IKEA parking lot, I think.
Yeah, we are burying the lead. What the hell's going on in Bloomington? First you got all those booms, and now you got sheep farms.
Yeah.
Place is terrifying.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.